Hey guys, when last we left our character Renal Call, he had been sent on a mission by his Sabersworn masters, by a Hutt named Akim specifically. He's headed to the planet Togoria, which is a forest city hybrid kind of world out on the mid-rim. The Togorians are a fearsome cat-like humanoid race. The Empire has sent forces to Togoria to enact a forced conscription of its people to build some kind of secret construction site or weapon or something in outer space. We don't know. Call, that's my character, has been sent to meet with the Togorian leadership to let them know that the Sabersworn might have another option for them. I don't yet know what that is. I'm supposed to sneak past Imperial blockades and get through checkpoints to reach the Togorian leadership. Now, Togoria's capital city is called Kalros, and it is 100% occupied by female Togorians only, while the males are roaming the savannas and forests to hunt and provide for their females back in the city. So I must meet with the women's clan leader named Luxfin and try to broker a deal between her and my Sabersworn leaders. That's where we begin. Okay, welcome back, guys. So I'm going to get right into it. If you listen to our last little mission here, the first one of this epic, hopefully epic series. Hopefully we don't get killed here too quickly, because we've come to a planet, Togoria, that is completely surrounded by Imperials meaning to do something here, meaning to conscript the people of this world and force it. They're trying to do it kind of peacefully, but there's been intimations that if they don't get what they want, they may force it anyway, which has put the women's clan here in a very big bind. So Renal Call has arrived freshly in his Fire Spray 31, the Fortune Favored. He's come to the planet that is surrounded by Imperials. I imagine I am immediately going to be pinged, at least, and probably put in some kind of sort of queue. They may want to board my ship. They may want to inspect my ship. I don't yet know. So what we're going to do to find out how this begins is do something that I kind of skipped past in the last. I kind of rolled off screen a little bit, but we're going to do it this time so that you guys can actually see. It's called a begin the session move. Now, what does begin the session move do? Well, just as you might imagine, it says right here, when you begin a significant session or chapter of play, you do all of the following. You identify or adjust any flagged content or set a flag. Now, since it's just me playing, obviously I don't have to do that. I know the kind of content I like, so I'll just keep in that. Then you review or recap what happened last session. This is important. So you're going to go through your notes. Just remember, that's why we make these handy-dandy notes. And just very quickly, this is how I do it. I kind of keep a little note thing here, and it's Akeem the Hutt sent me to the women's clan. We've already covered this part in my opening. I threw out the name Sid Ferris when that was a fake name I threw out when I was trying to get past the last Imperial checkpoint, right? It was this gigantic Bellator class dreadnought. But then I got into a fight with some pirates one of them was flying a YT-2400. One of them was fighting an old refitted droid tri-fighter. And the other one was flying an old refitted Mandalorian starfighter. I managed to damage them a bit, and then I escaped, but they made the mark on me. They said a promise to me that we will find you. So I have to remember that now. That's something I had to put in my notes. I've put there. But there was a flashback that revealed my mentor was a Deveronian female named Bruna Amar. In that flashback, she taught me a breathing exercise. In that breathing exercise was the skills to channel the Force in such a way that I could push away dark thoughts and dark spirits, dark side energies. So what I'm going to do now, what I thought would be fun to show you guys, there's so many ways to play this game, and if you haven't played it before, there's a very interesting thing I can do here. First of all, there's clocks down here, which we can get to in a minute. But I'm going to add another progress here. I'm going to call this one dangerous. And what this progress clock is going to be, guys, is me working towards something that if I can complete it, this will be an ongoing thing, almost like crafting. In this game, you can create things, you can create new skills just by using the progress bars, guys. So even if the game doesn't have something you like a skill that you wish you could get, well, you can train for it. If there's a piece of equipment you wish you could start with or have, you can build it. That doesn't exist, you just give it a rank. So I'm going to say it's dangerous, and let's give this a Star Warsy sounding name. I'm just going to think of a few little just Jirok breathing method. The Jirok breathing method. That sounds kind of Star Warsy. The Jirok breathing method was taught to me by my Deveronian female mentor who's gifted in the Force. She's not a Jedi. She's like me. She's Sabersworn. And Bruna, she taught me the Jirok breathing method. Every time I train in this, it's going to make me stronger. And I'm going to put here what my reward is. I'm going to go ahead and say this. You can do this, guys, with this game. This game is so beautiful that you can do this. Check this out. I'm just going to say that once completed, Call, that's my character, right? Call will have +1 to all checks rejecting, or let's call it deflecting, the dark side. Okay. So that's not even going to be an asset. In this game you have what's called assets. This is just going to be like a passive, or whatever you want to call it, skill that I just have if I can complete this and train. So we're going to try to weave that into this session a little bit. All right. So now we've done a review. We have now looked at, done a little bit of cleanup from last session. We're now ready to fully do the last step of begin the session, which is this. Set the scene by envisioning your character's current situation and intent. So it says here, I'm going to envision the scene, which I've already done. He's arrived. Call sees these ships, and he's kind of taken aback. He's probably not seen many worlds this surrounded by Imperial fleets. This must be a gigantic construction effort that they're about to begin, and they must really want to show some intimidation force to the Togorian female High Council to make them feel intimidated that, hey, you better do as we say, because we could do this the easy way or we could do this the hard way. I'm here to tell the Togorians there's the Sabersworn way. We can help you. Maybe the Rebel Alliance can't help you, maybe no one else can, but the Sabersworn can help. So here it is. It says, in addition, you may spotlight a new danger, opportunity, or insight. This can include a scene hidden from your character's perspective. If you do, envision a brief vignette. So this might even be something we roll up here that happens off screen. It's just like a movie, right, or a TV show. This is something my character might not be aware of. And it says here, and then all players that take part in this take +1 momentum. Now I'm already at full momentum. I built up a lot of momentum last session, right there at the end. So I'm just going to say that I'm gonna roll to begin the session move, and here we go. Flashback reveals an aspect of your background or nature. Okay, well, let's find out a little bit. What does that mean? Let's go up here to oracles. What does this flashback reveal about my essential nature? Learn wealth. I see a flashback. Renal Call sees these Imperials surrounding this planet. He thinks the last time he saw something like this was on a world he's too young to even remember. He was traveling with his mentor, Bruna. She was taking him on some kind of mission, and he saw a wealthy world, and she said to him, "Behold." Like we flash back to a little boy, Zabrak, a little boy, Renal Call, in the co-pilot seat. And Bruna, she's a Deveronian. They have horns. She looks over and says, "Do you see?" And in this flashback, my little Zabrak character, little boy, looks out the window of the cockpit of this ship that we're in. Maybe it's a YT, right? And we see a planet surrounded by Imperials. And Bruna says, "This is what the Empire will do. This planet, young Call, this planet is brimming with wealth. These people worked hard for their own prosperity, and the Empire is coming to take whatever they want. Make no mistake," she says, "this is what the Empire is, no matter what their propaganda says, that they make the galaxy a better place. that the economy is better because of them, that whatever is because that there's no more chaos and everything's under order now. This is what they come and they basically put a gun to your head and they, quote unquote, ask you politely to take something. But they don't, but even if you reject it, they're going to do this to you. And then in this flashback, I see that they take what they want. Maybe they even bombard a shuttle or something that's from this planet, and they get what they want. So that brings us to the present. So that little flashback would have given me a momentum if I needed it. I'm already at 10. But now we know a little bit about my character. He traveled around when he was a young boy, and he learned from Bruna, his mentor, that the Empire will take what they want. So now he's looking at Togoria, where he's been sent to do this mission. And now he's alone. He doesn't have his master anymore. He's looking at a planet that he's got to get through this blockade. So let's start rolling on some oracles to see what happens now. What happens now? Am I going to be able to get through this blockade? Are they going to try to stop me? I might be able to fly right past. There's a chance. There's a small chance I might be able to get through here without them trying to waylay me or stop me. So we're going to find out right now. So let's roll some oracles. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here, guys, we are going to do a move that we didn't do last session. It is called Make a Connection move. It's down here with the relationship moves in general. There's 4 major ways to sort of develop relationships in the game and create them. So let's look at Make a Connection. It says, when you search out a new friendship or give focus to an existing relationship, not an ally or companion, roll plus heart. Okay? So what I'm going to do is roll to see if I can make some kind of connection here, someone who knows me. Maybe the Sabersworn sent me here. Maybe they didn't send me here alone, right? It makes sense that there would be a connection for me to make here. And so I'm going to go ahead and say that before I roll what the Empire maybe does next or how I proceed onto Togoria, I'm going to roll Make a Connection move. And so we're going to do that by simply rolling plus heart. I don't have anything that gives me any advantage to that, so I'm just going to roll heart. Okay, that's a weak hit. Let's check this out. What does it mean to roll a weak hit on a Make a Connection? On a weak hit as above, but this connection, so I did it. It says give them a roll and rank. Whenever your connection aids you on a move closely associated with their roll, add +1 and take +1 momentum on a hit. Okay, but it says this connection comes with a complication or cost. I think this makes sense with the Empire right now. There's going to be a cost. I've got a rendezvous. I got a rendezvous with this person. But before we do this, what we're going to do is do what the rules said there. I'm going to go over here to my challenges. I am going to give this person, this new person here, a name, a rank, all of that. I can actually clear all of this out here. Let me clear this real quick and do a little housekeeping. Because what we're going to use this for now is we're going to give this person a rank. I'm actually going to call it, let's say this person is formidable. They are very powerful within the Sabersworn, kind of. And we're going to add a rank here. And so now we're going to give them a name. Let's go down here to character, right? Character. Let's roll a few things here. Name. Okay. Rowena. I like the name Rowena. You know what? I'm going to say this is a female, and I'm going to go with Ro, because Jemison, that Rowena Jemison sounds too much like an Earth name. I'm going to say it's code name Ro. That's all we know right now. I don't even know what species this person is yet. I'm going to say that I'm not allowed to know, and that this person is contacting me. So let's just do a couple of things. Disposition. Okay, this person's going to be friendly, more or less. And let's go to roll. Okay, explorer. Okay, so what has this just told us? So row, I'm going to put this here. Explorer, I'm going to put gives +1 to any kind of exploration. So if I go on a trip with this person, which is great when you undertake an expedition in this game, to exploration, +1 to exploration, and +1 momentum on a hit for any roll that I do that has to do with exploring. So like explore a waypoint, right? I got in trouble with that in last session trying to explore that waypoint and then I got ambushed by all the pirates. Well, if I have this row person with me, right now they give me a +1 and a +1. If I can make them a friend, then they'll actually do even more for me. And it'll actually help me on my bonds track. If you guys recall, that looks like this way down here. So you have quests, bonds, and discoveries. Well, right now, my character Rental Call, he has no friends. I guess I've been training exclusively to become this soldier, this operative, a sneaky operative, for the sake of my Sabersworn. And we don't yet know how my character was even recruited. When you make this game, you can decide all that beforehand. I'm deciding to discover that in play. So right now, we don't even know anything. But here's about my character's much past. We know that he has Bruno was his master. Now I'm going to roll action and theme. Share world. Okay, so the first thing is I'm floating out there outside of the planet, and so I just rolled an oracles there. The action theme was share world. So I'm floating in my ship in orbit. I'm being pinged by Imperial starships. They're telling me to take up a certain orbit. They're giving me the coordinates for an exact orbit. They're not even talking to me yet. They're not even really hailing me on a channel. They're just automatically sending out an auto reply that says all incoming ships get on this orbit. That's 100,000 miles above the planet. Do not deviate, kind of thing. It's like an automated message. So, all right. So what's happening is I receive that, and then I hear this female voice. And the female voice comes over and says, fortune favored, do you read? And I recognize it as a channel. Let's say it's a frequency that is, it's like encrypted. It's an encrypted channel that I recognize that the Sabersworn I've been told to use with other Sabersworn. Maybe there's a few channels we use, and this is one of them that I've told my ship's computer to look out for. And I say, this is fortune favored, go ahead. And this person, this female, she just says, big traffic jam out here, right? And I look outside my cockpit and I see all these starships waiting in orbit, trying to get into low orbit, trying to get permission to land on Togoria, all these trade ships, all these freighters carrying their cargo, maybe a couple of Togorian ships trying to leave, And I say back to this person, I say, yeah, it's getting pretty crowded up here. And she says, well, the world's big enough. This planet is big enough. Maybe the Empire will think to share a piece of it with us, huh? And I kind of smile. I know what's going on. This person is another Sabersworn. This is Ro, who I'll do a brief flashback will indicate that I was told by Akeem the Hutt that I would have a contact here, and the contact's name would be Ro, and that I would just refer to. I say, yeah, once we get below, down there, there's a lot of water down there. Sure would like to go fishing, maybe on an old rowboat, like my dad used to take me on when I was small and we would go fishing. He wouldn't let me fish. I had to do all the rowing. So I keep using the word row a couple of times. So I'm confirming to this person I understand who they are. And she says, yeah, there's a lot of good fishing indeed. And she speaks to me in code a little bit more. What does she say? What does she say in code? Let's roll again. Let's do a descriptor focus. Fortified supply. Okay, yeah. She says it sounds to me like there's a bunch of She says I did a scan of the planet when I first got here. The Empire made me pull back. But I did a scan. I saw some dams. I guess some natural dams. I guess there's some really giant creatures on Togoria that dam up the water. And she's basically describing creatures like beavers here on Earth. we'll say on this planet to make it interesting, it's some kind of squid type creature that lives in the water of the rivers of certain parts of Togoria. And she's saying, yeah, it dammed it up. She's talking about so in code, if this were a TV show, at the bottom, it's showing what she means in code. So like subtitles. And she's basically telling me there's fortifications, and she's giving me coordinates to where those dams might be. And I kind of do a little scan myself and find some imperial fortresses that are not native to Togoria. But the Empire's starting to set up like these sort of, kind of like the Empire did on the moon of Endor. Remember in the Return of the Jedi, they had all these sort of base camps out in the woods. And they were kind of piecemeal being put together and assembled. And there were biker scouts. So she says, yeah, and so some of the words she's using also refer to like supplies. So the Empire is, quote unquote, damming up this place to keep supplies from going into certain Togorian villages under the guise of looking for, rebel paraphernalia, looking for anything like that. In prison, and in prison they would call it contraband. So but the Empire's actually doing this to hurt the Togorian trade down on the planet. So she's giving me a heads up what we got to do when we go down there. And I'm going to go ahead and say she goes ahead and tells me one of those, like sort of nearby, outside of that city of Kairos, where we have to get to, right? We have to get to Luxfin. And she's basically telling me basically she's feeding me coordinates that are kind of bogus coordinates. In other words, if the Empire's listening in right now, they wouldn't know what she's saying. But it is obvious to me she's giving me coordinates to some spot outside of Kairos. I don't know what I'm going to encounter there. So I say, I read you. Well, I'm going to get some shut-eye, and hopefully I can... And then, the Empire's calling me now. I think that's the Imperials. And Rose says, yeah, you better get on that. Hopefully you'll be able to get a landing zone before I do. And I say, okay. So I log off, and then there's a little button flashing. And it's an indicator light, right, that I'm getting a transmission from one of these Imperial ships. And let's just, for funsies, because this can inform the fiction, right? Let's roll to see what kind. I'm going to roll a few times on a large scale starship until I come up with an Imperial ship. It's an interdictor class Star Destroyer. Part makes sense. In Star Wars, interdictors are ones that specialize in keeping people. I mean, this makes so much sense. These ships keep people from jumping to light speed, and they can actually pull you out of light speed. So the interdictors can actually shoot these. They can project false gravity shadows and mass shadows into hyperspace to force your computer, your starship's computer, to pull you out of hyperspace, because it tricks your computer into thinking you're about to hit a planet. So these interdictor classes are all over the place, and I think it makes sense, right? They're trying to intercept anyone coming or going. They're basically doing a blockade, like the Trade Federation in the first prequel movie, The Phantom Menace. They're doing a blockade of kind of the entire planet, essentially. I mean, they're letting ships come and go, but very slowly. So this interdictor class Star Destroyer calls up, and we just get a quick starship name. Starship name generator. Let's go to a name generator here and just look at the Atlas, the Saber. Ooh, I'm going to call it the Saber Nexus, or the Nexus Saber. I'm going to call it the Nexus Saber. All right. So we just got contacted by the Nexus Saber. Okay, I'm going to put my notes here. Contacted by the Nexus Saber, an interdictor class ship. Okay, and they say, fortune favored. Have you responded with your transponder? They're giving me the runaround like the other ones did in the last session. I've already sent my transponder code. They're harassing me, but I send it again and say, that's affirmative, Nexus Saber. I have indeed sent it. I will send it again, and in case you didn't get the last transmission. And so let's see here. I'm gonna roll on the probability here. What do you think? Ask the Oracle. So it's going to ask the Oracle here. I actually think it's almost certain. We're going to roll an almost. I think it's almost certain that the Empire is going to ask me to surrender my ship. Actually, let's go 50-50. Actually, I don't think they're actually going to try to go through every ship coming and going. So I'm going to land on, let's split the difference. I'm going to go with it's likely. Do they want to have my ship dock with one of their ships or get pulled in by a tractor beam, switch off my engines, of my own volition, and let them aboard my ship? Is that going to happen? Yes, it is. Okay. So I basically pilot over and say, okay, confirmed. I read you, Nexus Saber, Fortune Favored reads you. I'm pulling in to let you take a look at my ship. So we could do kind of just a skip to the next scene, right? You see my ship being pulled in by a tractor beam. I switch off my engines, and they come aboard. I'm going to roll on the oracles here for a little bit of action and theme. What is their mood, or what's going on here? What are we looking at? Defend hope. Okay. I interpret that as that they are defending. They're coming on board my ship. I have my hands out to the sides, so like, hey, I'm not armed, kind of thing. They come aboard. I see Imperial stormtroopers coming aboard my ship, and I am standing to one side, and then this gray suited officer, Imperial officer, steps and says, "Pilot, step out now." And so I say, "Yes, sir." And I step outside, and so I've got to wait outside while they basically ransack my ship. So they are being very defensive, and they are trying to remove any hope that if I'm a rebel or if I'm a secret Togorian sympathizer, they are removing any hope from it. They're trying to make it look like, in other words, I'm interpreting it very vaguely as them just trying to make it where it's so stern, at so officious, I'm having to be just like, and they won't even let me move. There's like two stormtroopers staring right at me. Their helmets, I can see my reflection in their helmets, And finally, comes out, I'm going to roll again on the probability. We're just going to roll to see what is the likelihood they find something. I actually think I don't have anything. But I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to roll small chance here. I don't actually have anything on my ship that should be questionable. Oh, you know what? Take that back. I do have a lightsaber, and it's hidden somewhere aboard my ship. But it's a very small item, and I think I kind of know how to hide stuff. So I'm going to say it's unlikely they found it. Did they find it? Wow. They found my lights. Okay. I'm going to say that they come. I get one of the officers near me says he touches his ear or his comlink, and you can tell someone inside is calling him, like, "Come take a look at this, sir." And they come in, and he comes out to me and says, "Pilot, is there anything you want to tell me? Is there something I should know?" And I say, "No, I have no idea." And he says something to the effect of, "I'm told that inside they've sent," and he shows me a hologram. They've already taken a picture of it, I guess, on their data pad. The troopers who are inside my ship, and they've essentially, I guess, emailed this picture to the guy in front of me to his data pad or his holo pad, and this hologram emits, and it's my lightsaber. And my character fights to do a visible gulp. And I'm going to say that my lightsaber, I'm a Sabersworn, and I'm no dummy. I know that if someone finds this thing, that I'd be in trouble. So before I came off the ship, I removed the crystal, the Kyber crystal, and I also removed like the main, like whatever emission switch or whatever, so it looks like an antique. And I've actually made sure it kind of maybe somewhat looks, kind of beat up or whatever. And when I see it and I go, oh, well, yes, sir. I mean, it's an old lightsaber hilt. It's not active. He says, it's not active. And I say, no, it's not active at all. There's no kyber. It's an antique. I found it. And I actually say, as a matter of fact, I know they're wanted right now. I mean, I'd be willing to trade it to you for, and I say to him, 10,000 credits. So here's what I'm doing. I'm trying to compel him to think it's innocuous and it's probably not worth the 10,000 credits. That I'm like, in other words, I'm hoping to get rid of this thing. It's such a piece of crap. I'm trying to really compel him here that so I'm going to lie. Now, fortunately, I have that 10 momentum. So unless I roll 2 10s here, I should pass this check. This should be almost a guaranteed here. So I'm doing shadow. Oh my God. I rolled a 10 and an 8. That means I have to burn my momentum just to make it a weak hit. Oh my God. These rolls, man. All right, so on a weak hit as above, so it means I get a momentum just for passing, but it says comes with a demand or complication. Envision their counter offer. All right, let's envision this counter offer. What do I think it is? I'm going back to the core action and theme to get some ideas. Resist resource. God dang, he's going to ask to keep my lightsaber. He's got, well, we'll keep it here, and we'll be sure to give it back to you once you leave. I now think I can either go with this, or I can risk ticking him off, making him mad, because I really want my lightsaber. I'm going to tell him that there's someone down below. All right, here's the thing. Here's, guys. We haven't done this, I don't think, yet. I'm going to do what's called secure an advantage. I'm going to use secure an advantage to use wits and observation to try to get a feel for this guy, because what I want to do is see what about him might help me convince him otherwise. In other words, I might just slip him some credits right now. Am I able to observe anything? Okay, what does it say? I did it. So on a weak hit, I choose 1. I'm going to take 2 momentum. Okay, I am now going to attempt compel, and I'm going to try to compel him. Here's what I think needs to happen. I need to compel him by trying to convince him that there's someone down below who really wants this thing, and I need to sell it down below. He can't keep it. Sir, if you keep it, then I can't sell it on Togoria, right? So I need it so that I can actually sell it. I got a strong hit. Okay, now we're cooking. On a strong hit, they'll do what you want or agree to your conditions. Take +1. But you know what? Just because I'm a glutton for punishment, I still think, even though I got a strong hit, this is the Empire. And I got a weak hit. This is just me. You don't have to do this. I could just move on right now. I'm just going to ask the Oracle real quick. I'm going to ask the Oracle, is this guy going to suggest a bribe? In other words, I pay him up front for the pleasure of taking this, or the right to take this old lightsaber down to Togoria and have it sold. It's the Empire. I did roll a strong hit. I'm going to give it a small chance, but I am going to give it a chance. I like random stuff that could just throw the story into a loop. So is he going to ask for a bribe? No, he's not. Okay, good deal. He looks at me and says, very well, pilot. And he says, be sure when you get down, check in with do a check-in with station 114C or something. The coordinates are already going to be logged into your computer. When you go down to Togoria, we want you to log in so that the space traffic control below will monitor your ship and know where you land, and will know where your ship is every moment that you're on the planet. Am I understood? And I say, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, what else can I say, right? He gives me my lightsaber back, and I get back going down to Togoria. Now, let's go to Planet Side Feature. This is some of the coolest oracles in the game. Planet. Now I'm going to roll until something makes sense, right? Let's Let's roll a planet type, or I'm going to select one. Grave Jungle World. Okay, so see, I selected Jungle World. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this thing will only generate things now. This oracle will only generate things now from the jungle oracles from the main book. So let's just roll for some funsies here, right? I'm going to roll and just add stuff. So, like, how many settlements do I see on my way in? I see a single planet-side settlement, so there's no orbital settlement, no settlement on the moon or anything. It's a planet-side settlement. So I'm flying over it. On my way to those coordinates that Ro told me to meet her at, essentially. She was saying it in coded speak. I'm going to meet her there, but on the way, I have to check in with Station 114C or whatever it was the Imperial officer said. I make sure I do that, and I'm still flying over. I'm going to say that I see some massive canyons from orbit, but as I get onto the planet side, this is interesting. I'm coming near immense tiered waterfalls. That is so cool. And sinking quagmires. This is so neat. I am coming. She sent me to on the far side of a single planet-side settlement that is outside of Karos, the city, the capital city. And I am coming to a place with the sun shining, and there's these. You know what? Is the sun shining? That's also neat. Let's ask the oracle. Is it night? I'm gonna say, I don't know, 50-50, right? Is it nighttime? Yeah, so it's actually nighttime. And so the stars are sparkling off, reflecting in the water, right, of this massive tiered waterfalls that are just, one waterfall goes down and it creates another waterfall that cascades down this giant mountain. And then it creates these sinking quagmires down here. Do I see any life forms? Don't do that. Life forms. It's overrun. So me flying into this, there is nocturnal, like, predator bat creatures, like, flying everywhere. Like, they fly past, the headlights or whatever, the landing lights that are on the outside of my starship. There's these flying creatures. I'm going to say it's almost like Pandora on the movie Avatar. There's a couple, like, some trees have glowing moss. Some of them, not all of them. And it's very dark here, but there's a little bit of glowing moss. And then there's these bats that fly in front of it, giant wingspans. The forest floor, when my floodlights, my landing lights wash over it. There's all sorts of just, like, I can see nighttime hunters, which is I'm going to have to be very, very aware of, because Togoria can be a dangerous planet, right? So I land outside of this, far outside of this settlement, and I switch my engines off, and I sit down. I'm going to the landing cycle, flipping all these switches, and my ship is outgassing, right? It's blowing out steam. The landing gear, as my ship pushes down on the compressors, the hydraulic shock absorbers, there's a bunch of hissing, and I'm landing. And okay, so I'm gonna say my rental call. He's going to let it be known over the channel, that same channel he used before. He's going to just kind of like send out a couple of beeps that like like static or beeps that will let Ro know that I landed safely. But if anyone's listening to that channel, it would just sound like static from a radio. Nothing. So I'm using spy tactics, spycraft here, right? And let's see. I'm going to roll again. I like to roll on these action and themes. Let's do a descriptor focus too. Depleted discovery. Okay, so I landed in these quagmires. I feel like I landed, and not too far away by my headlight, I can see like an old. Let's roll on the vehicles. I love this stuff. I love these oracles that can make things come alive and might add to the story. Let's roll on vehicle type. There's a planetary vehicle type. Let's roll on that. A 2-passenger speeder bike. So I have found a depleted Old two-passenger speeder bike. Ah, but you know what? I bet this is Rose. She sent me here, and this thing looks like a piece of crap, and it's covered in moss, and it so that no one could see it from the air. It looks like a piece of crap, but it's two-passenger. That makes so much sense. I'm gonna go ahead and call it. I see this thing when I come down from my ship. I've got a blaster pistol, and now I've put my lightsaber back together. I've got my crystal, my kyber crystal back in there. I've got my emitter in there. I've clipped both to my side, my blaster pistol and my lightsaber. And I've got a sort of a robe that covers it. And I come down the ramp, and I'm looking around, and I'm shining a flashlight around, and I've got those micro binoculars and all those things that Luke Skywalker used on Tatooine at night when he was looking for the Sand People, kind of thing. I've got those up, and I'm looking. I'm using it for like heat vision and motion tracking. I'm looking for any sign. And just for funsies, again, I'm gonna roll a face danger, and I'm gonna roll to see. I think she appears. I think Ro appears sneakily. I think that there's a reason that there's a two-passenger speeder bike here. She and I are about to take that thing. But do I sense her around me before she approaches? So, I'm going to do a face danger. When it says focus or observation, I'm rolling a wits here. So let's roll wits. I got a weak hit. So here's what I think happens. On a weak hit, you make a suffer move. Here's the thing. That's fine. I'm okay with that for the sake of the fiction. I lose a spirit. And because I'm nervous, I don't know if I've been found out. I hear someone approaching. I'm wondering, is it her? And I do this little whistle, like a or something, so that she will respond. And she will think, hopefully, but here's the thing. I don't hear a response before I already hear movement behind me, and I turn. And it freaks out my character. Call turns around and sees Ro there. And it causes me a bit of stress just having sitting there waiting. There's these predators. Togoria is overrun with predators. I didn't know who it was. So we kind of scare each other. And I'm gonna choose to not endure stress right now. I'm actually just gonna take it. But here is what I'm going to do now. We need to know who she is. Now, we've already heard her speaking. She could be a droid for all I know. She could be a human. She could be a Miri Allen. She could be a Twi'lek. She could be a Zabrak. I have no idea. So let's just roll until something makes sense. Like if I roll a Hutt, she didn't sound like a Hutt when she was talking to me. So I'm going to, or a droid or something. Or she could have been a droid. We might be. Let's see what we roll here. We'll roll until something makes sense. Does a Gran make sense? Let's look at the show. I forgot exactly what their species exactly looks like. Okay, yeah. Okay, so it's a female one of these guys. That's a Gran here. Interesting. Okay. 3 eyes. Looks like 6 fingers there, sort of like 5 fingers with a really weird final thumb or something. Okay, so this Gran appears, and from what I understand, they have a hard time speaking the basic language. So if we retcon a little bit, we'll say that maybe I knew it, I suspected it, because her use of the basic language was very difficult. So I turn around, and it's this Gran, and we both don't flash our lightsabers, but we both have our blasters up. Now, she says, getting a little antsy there, aren't you? So here's what we can do, guys. Because we are in a civilization, more or less. I've met her. I'm going to do it again, a roll, just to see what she says when she first meets me. Threaten resource. Okay, makes sense. I think she says, it was a long haul, wasn't it? And remember, my ship is damaged from those pirates. She looks at my ship and she goes, looks like you saw a little action on the way in. And I say, nothing I couldn't handle. And I put my blaster, I holster it, and she holsters hers. She goes, well, looks like you can use some repairs, or looks like you could use a drink. And I say, yeah, I'm very low on supplies, which I am, guys. I'm at like 1 supply. I have 2 spirit, so I could use with what's called a sojourn. That is a move. Let's go down here to see, enter the fray, momentum, sojourn. So she and I are going to connect. And while we are connecting, and she's going to tell me a little bit more about my mission, we're going to roll a sojourn here. So let's see. Since we haven't done it yet in this campaign, it says, when you spend time recovering within a community, which I am going to technically be in a community now of Togorians and her. Now remember, basically all the female Togorians live in the big cities. So out here is a bunch of angry male hunters. The male Togorians are always out there. So I come to this little community, and I'm gonna give it a, you know what? Let's just make up a Star Warsy sounding name. Why don't we? They met Ro, and we sojourned in, and let's just make up something that sounds karate. That sounds too much like karate, like the martial art. Karate Zor. That is the name of this place where we land, or that we're going to. It's like a village, a settlement full of mostly male Togorian hunters and their children, who are also probably males learning to hunt. From what I read in canon, Togorians were pretty standoffish to outworlders, outsiders. But the fact that she's here, I think that, and she's an explorer, I think that Ro actually has a connection with these people here. And so that's why I'm able to sojourn here. So let's go down to sojourn. I'm going to roll plus heart. It's going to tell me what happens. Hopefully I roll pretty well. A strong hit with a match. That's great. All right, on a strong hit, this is a safe refuge. You and your allies may each choose 2 recover moves. Heal, hearten, repair, or resupply. Instead of rolling, assume an automatic strong hit for each. Okay, so I assume a strong hit for heal, repair, resupply, whatever, and hearten. Okay, so an individual move can be taken more than once. But let's remember, I got a match. So let's first figure out what I'm going to do here. But remember, we got a match. We got to come back to that. So let's go to resupply. Now remember, we get an automatic strong hit on this because we did so well in that sojourn. When you attempt to bolster your readiness, envision your opportunity and the approach, blah, blah, blah. On a strong hit, choose 1. If you are unprepared, click the +1 supply. Otherwise, take +2 supply. I'm going to take +2 supply. And then hearten, we also get to assume that I got a strong hit. So on a strong hit, I take 2 supply. Oh, and if you make this move as part of a sojourn, take +1 more. 1, 2, 3. I am back up to full. Awesome. Is that the same for supply? Let's look. If on a strong hit, choose 1. Otherwise, take 2 supply. Okay, no. So it's only hearten where you get a +1 if you did it during a sojourn. Okay, so we resupplied. Let's say she takes me, and she's walking me through this place. She says, just stick with me. These Togorians, they don't much like outsiders, but if you're with me, then they'll be okay with you. And I imagine we walk through this place, and it is stinky because there's animals being dressed. You know what I mean? Like they've killed weird, like these creatures with antlers and these serpent creatures or something, and they've got them strung up, and they're teaching their kids. This is at nighttime, and they're cooking stuff around campfires, and these guys also probably are just, they're big, hairy cat people. They probably haven't bathed in a while. Some of them probably covered in mud because they use it for camouflage. And there's a few roads here. There's a couple of speeders. And so she and I are on this 2-person speeder. And we come and she says a few things. And a couple of these Togorians, they have a hard time speaking basic. And they say things like, they say, "Ro, who have you got with you?" They're having to talk with these weird lisps. And Ro says, we get off the speeder, and she says, "It's okay. He's with me. He needs some supplies." And they sniff me, but I got a strong hit. with a match. So let's go and roll. I think I know what I already kind of know what I want this to be, but I'm going to roll to color what I think this is going to be. Here's what I think. I think because Ro has I think it's a strong hit with a match because Ro has such a good relationship with whoever this Togorian is. It's a male Togorian hunter. I'm going to roll action and theme to flavor it, but I think I get to make a connection with this guy. So, restore freedom. Okay, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say this makes so much sense. I don't have to roll to do a make a connection. I'm going to assume a strong hit for make a connection with this guy because he wants me. He knows why she's here. He goes, you're the one who's come to help us. Help us fight back and restore our freedom from the Empire. So I have just met a fellow, he's not a Sabersworn, and he's not a rebel, as in terms of a rebel alliance, but he is anti-Empire and pro-Togorian liberty. So this guy, let's go over here. I'm going to set, and there's an oracle you can actually roll. You can roll, see what's miscellaneous. I think this one has story complication, story clue, location theme, faction. Where's the one for quest difficulty? I feel like there's one for random difficulty, like how difficult something is. If not, then I can just roll something. Is it core? Focus? No, it's not. It's not core. I'm gonna assume this guy. Let's go ahead and make him. And let's give him a name too, right? We're gonna have to give him a name. I'm gonna assume this guy is like a sort of a bad dude, tough. I'm gonna say he's formidable to make friends with, and I'm gonna give him a name right now. And again, I'm gonna make it sound Star Warsy. I'm just using this for inspiration. Oh, that actually sounds like it could be a Star Wars name. Jorun. Let's call him Jorun, the Togarian. Togorian. And let's roll. It might just be Hunter. That's his specialty. But let's roll to see what he's good at. Like, what's his disposition? He's demanding. So he's welcoming me, but he's kind of demanding. And his role is he's a guard. Okay, Togorian, and he's a guard. I'm going to put guard. Gives +1 to, what do we think? What does he give +1 to? He's a guard. A lookout. And if or sneaking. I'm going to put +1 to assisting in lookout. Yeah, let's go lookout and sneaking. So he could be a lookout and he's helping me sneak along because he's a hunter. And I also get +1 momentum for those rolls. I get those now just passively if he's ever with me. He gets to be an upgrade. He's upgraded to being an even more, bad dude, awesome friend of mine if I can do things for him that advances our relationship. So, okay, I'm going to put female grand, just a little note-taking here, housekeeping. This is exciting. Okay, so I've made 2 friends, 2 connections. These 2 are going to be able to help me. One's a Sabersworn, and one is a native, which is Jorun is going to be very helpful, probably, it could be, in terms of politics, in terms of things like that. So I get to sit in for the night, and we're not going to sleep yet. We're sitting around his campfire, but it's like inside a hut, and he has a hole in this roof. It's got very interesting, it's sort of the way the Togorians make their tents. Let's say it's sort of odd looking, and there's a hole in the roof for the smoke to go out, and there's these weird ceremonial symbols carved into the chairs or whatever, and maybe drawn into the ground. He uses one claw to draw in the ground. And at first, I think he's doing some ceremonial thing. But you know what I think he's really doing is he's drawing. I realize as I'm eating, he's letting me eat some kind of porridge with some blue milk. And he says, eventually, he starts saying, this here is Command Post 114C, what the Imperials call Command Post 114C. He's giving me a map to work with. And he starts telling me about certain patrols. And I'm going to do a few here. Action, theme, descriptor, focus. I'm going to combine them all to give me an idea of what this mission is or what he tells me. Anything to give me where the story goes from here. Hide, passage, making sense so far, hoarded, outbreak. Okay, this is all automatically telling me something. He's telling me, remember what, we go off the fiction that's been established. I told you earlier, we established earlier through the other oracles that on this planet, the Imperials aren't just up in outer space. They're down here on the planet, and they are on some of the roads that go between settlements. And they say we're here to make sure no one's taking contraband or rebel contraband or whatever from one city to the next, from one settlement to the next. That's what they're saying. But they're actually they're slowing down trade between settlements. They're hampering things. They're making it so the Togorians will want them to leave and just give them what they want. Fine. We will conscript our young males to go to war for you. Fine. Or to not to go to war, but to build and to help you with constructing whatever it is you need constructing in outer space. Fine. That's what they want the Togorians to do. They're making life tough for the Togorians so that they can say, the Imperial ambassadors can say, look, we can go away if you'll just, help us. We'll help you, you help us, kind of thing. So we've already established that. What Jorun is here telling me is that he's showing me passages that he knows, he's pretty sure go underground passages, and where the Togorians know of underground passages that they have used, old caves that their ancestors taught them about and showed them, that the Imperials don't know about. And they are secretly using these to hide and move around and get inside and outside of the city and of the city of Kalros and communicate with their female leadership and trying to get some of the stuff that the Imperials are hoarding. And they've discovered that the Imperials are indeed hoarding some of this stuff that they seize as part of, civil forfeiture. For those of you guys who know that legal term, civil forfeiture means if law enforcement sees something on your person or in your vehicle that looks like suspicious, they can technically just seize it and you have forfeited it because they think it could have been used in a crime. So the government can just take it. It's called civil forfeiture. And I think the Empire is invoking civil forfeiture and saying, we have to keep some of these supplies just until we make sure that they weren't used in a crime before, which is making some of the Togorians go hungry. But there's been an outbreak. And because I want to keep this, I love randomness. I love it propels the story forward. We're going to roll in the Oracle. I'm going to roll 50-50. Is there an outbreak among the Togorians? Or is the outbreak among the Imperials? There's been like a pandemic or an epidemic, something. So let's say yes or no. Is it the Imperials? Yes. So that changes things. It changes the story completely, doesn't it? There's an outbreak amongst the Imperials. So put that in our notes. There is an outbreak amongst the Imperials. And I'm going to put ... there because we're going to find out what the symptoms are right now. How should we do that? We could go descriptor focus. We could go to creature, derelict, vault, faction, miscellaneous. Let's do descriptor focus. I think that's simple and sweet. Grim mechanism. Okay. The grim makes sense. I think it's a grim outlook. If you get this thing, you start to die fast. But I think it's a mystery. I'm taking mechanism means they don't know what the grim mechanism, they don't know what is happening inside the body. But it's happening to Imperials. And if you guys know anything about your Star Wars lore, almost all Imperials are basically humans. They're kind of, fascist. They're, well, not kind of, they are. They're the ultimate fascist. But I mean, they're racist and they're speciest. They don't like other species or races. So they tend to. They don't. It's not like a formal decree. It's just a thing that happened when Palpatine took over. It's just one of those things that are kind of outspoken amongst people and rebels especially. But the Empire chooses not to talk about it. So it's humans. I'm a Zabrak, and oh, you know what? I already think that it's perfect. I think that's why I was sent here. I'm not a human. As a Zabrak, Call is not. He's not going to. And Ro, who she is a female Gran, we are not susceptible to this disease, whatever this thing is. Something on Togoria is starting to kill Imperials. I'm going to ask. Let's make this very interesting. I'm going to ask Jarun. Does he know what's causing that? Like, in other words, are you guys using biological warfare? I'm going to give it 50-50. Even if he answers me no, I'm going to roll a compel to see if I even believe him. I don't know what's going to happen right now. So let's just say, is he going to be honest with me? Are you guys using biological warfare? I think it's 50-50. No. Okay, that's him saying no. Is he telling the truth? Let's go roll a compel. This will tell me a lot about this character. I'm going to roll a compel. I'm going to roll to see if someone's telling the truth. No, that's gather information. I'm going to gather info. And that is a straight up wits roll. Let's look. Always look at your character sheets and your assets. I don't have anything. I am going to call upon the Force to secure an advantage, though. Let's look. Let's see if I can secure advantage. I got a miss. So calling upon the Force to pay the price. I'm going to go ahead and say the pay the price is that I tried to call upon the Force, and that something has blocked me again. It may be this dark side creature, and I'm going to have to do some of my breathing exercise later. Remember that dark side entity? It's still, I don't know what it is yet, but it's got it out for my character. Call has been summoned, or something is trying to summon him to the dark side. So remember that. That I have to remember that. And so I'm not going to be able to call in the Force for this gather information. So this is a straight up wits. I'm going to ask him and gather and say, listen, you can be honest with me. I want to see if I want to try to press him a little. This could, you know what? This could be a compel. Let's go down here. Because I could technically, encourage? Okay. I'm going to encourage him to tell me the truth. I'm going to say, for real, please be truthful with me. And I got a miss. So you know what he says? I don't have to roll pay the price if I know if it makes sense narratively. He says, I am telling you the truth. See, so right there, I failed the roll to compel him to tell me the truth, to make sure he told me the truth. So I don't know if he's telling the truth right now. When he says, trust me, I do not know. He looks at me and says, I've already told you, I do not know what is killing the Imperials. So I have no choice but to believe him. I'm going to look over at Ro. And I'm going to roll 50-50 again. Does Ro give me a look? Does she give me a look? And then see what kind of look it is. No, she doesn't. She keeps a passive face. If these two are up to something like they've already, or if the Togorians are using biological warfare of some kind, these two are playing it close to the chest, or else he's doing it and he hasn't told her. I don't know, so we got to move on with the story, right? So as far as I know, the human Imperials are dying from an outbreak that just slowly deteriorates them, causes their bodies to deteriorate. There's no cure for it, it seems. It's a grim outlook. They don't know what the mechanism is, what the pathogen is, or what the disease is, what the carrier is, what do they call it? The vector, the infection vector, whatever, when they talk about disease, what the vector, they don't know if it's come from the air, if it's airborne. Is it an insect bite? They don't know what the vector is for this disease, but it is killing Imperials. And I say, okay, fair enough. I have no choice but to believe you, Jeroen. You say you don't know what's killing them. Okay. What has this led to? Now, I don't think I need to roll in the oracle for this either. I think he says it has led them to become even more suspicious, just as you were just now. You automatically assumed that we are trying to kill the Imperials with biological warfare. So now they have increased their patrols, and they are ransacking some of our villages and settlements. And I'm going to say they found one of their hideouts. He says the Imperials have found one of our hideaways, our underground caves, but they have not found them all. And I say, all right, listen, what do you want me to do? So now that I know the situation, I know I'm here to speak to the women's clan. And you obviously invited me and invited Ro here because you think the Sabersworn can help you speak to the women's clan and start organizing a way to get rid of the Imperials. Now let's check with our overall challenges here. We have to convince the Togorians that they have options outside of siding with the Empire. In other words, either join the rebellion or join the Sabersworn secretly, something. But I'm there to see if they're even amenable to that. I look over at Ro, and I look over at Jeroen, and I ask them, okay, so how do we do this? I was sent here, obviously, for a reason. Can you please tell me what that is? So let's just roll a few times to see what this specific reason. Destroy humanity? I think I already know what this means. The Togorians, hard line is their women are vicious. The female Togorian cat, these cat people, these cat women are vicious. And he's telling me that basically the only thing they're interested in, siding with the Sabersworn, is if we destroy the humans that are on their planet, the invaders. In other words, they just want us to have the Sabersworn to do all-out war and kill the Imperials that are on their planet, all the ones up in space too, which is a hard position to start with politically. If I'm going to go start a political debate and the other person says, okay, I'll listen to you, and I'll side with you and help you fight the rest of the Empire, as long as you can kill all of the Imperials up in space and on this planet, then I'll think about it. If that is Luxfin's starting position, I've got my work cut out for me. Let's go descriptor focus. Desolate people. Okay, here's what I think's happening. I think that's where they're warning me. You need to go in there and speak to her, and we need to hear you. What we need to do is say, Ro says you must convince the Women's Council that this will. I'm going to use that it will leave this planet in desolation. The Imperials are going to be left in utter desolation. And the people here are going to be destroyed. And are going to be enslaved like the Wookiees on Kashyyyk have been. And they are going to be forced to help build another Death Star or something. And so what I have to go in there is tell the Women's Council, specifically the leader of the Women's Council, Luxfin, I have to tell her, I have to make a passionate argument that this is going to happen unless, and let's just do a couple of rolls until something just kind of, unless you get over yourself, you get over your greed. You suppress your need for vengeance. Your need for vengeance. Suppress that. Persevere, and we're offering you sanctuary. Okay, see, I rolled a few times until I was able to talk it out. Now what's happening? Okay, Ro has just told me my mission is to go speak to Lux Finn and convince them that if that's your hard line, then we have nothing to discuss, but there's an alternative. If you will help us in some small way and help, and you know that we will work with you, if you persevere and help us, and you resist against the Empire, and you rebel in whatever way you can. In other words, maybe send some of your people to, quote-unquote, voluntarily help build this structure, but actually have them be spies for the Ironsworn. We will offer any political prisoner from the Empire, any Togorian who wants to be a political prisoner, we will offer them sanctuary. We can promise you that. And as a proof of that, I'm just making this up now. I am being given a data pad. And this data pad has a one-time only message for the ears of Lux Finn. I play it once for her, and once it's played, it's like Mission Impossible. It'll self-destruct. I'm not even allowed to listen to it. I don't even know what's going to be on this message. I can listen to it with Lux Finn once I deliver it to her, but not before then. It's the one-time only message. So I'm going to have to do that, guys. That means sneaking in through these hidden pathways. That means getting into Karas. That means getting to Lux Finn. She's going to have guards around her. I imagine Imperials will be close, but also just her own honor guard. I mean, she's like the head politician of the entire city, and I think the entire planet, if I'm not mistaken, how Togorian politics works. And I'm just going to say that's how it works. That's how it appears when I read it on Wikipedia. So we sleep for that. So here's what happens. I agree to this mission. I tell them, listen, I'll do what I can, but I'm gonna say, but I must ask, I'm not exactly a politician. I'm more of a soldier. I've been trained to fight, even though I've not really seen war yet, but I've been trained to be that. I've been trained in certain aspects of the Force to follow the Force to a conclusion, to make better decisions, but I'm not gifted at politics. Can I ask why I was chosen? And they say, Rose says, I'm going to be honest. You were chosen because there are other Sabersworn are out there doing their own missions. And of the ones that were ready to go into the field, you're the best. And so I kind of laugh and say, so you're saying you're stuck with me. I wasn't chosen because I'm the best one for the job. I'm kind of the only one that you have available right now who has any kind of ability to fight back if I need to. And she says, yes. And I pick up a glass of blue milk. And I say, well, salute to you both. Let's hope, when do we get started? And they both look at each other, and then they look at me, and they say, how does tomorrow sound? And I said, you guys don't waste any time, do you? And the Togorian laughs. And he says some Togorian hunter's axiom. What is it? Something like, the hunter who waits for the perfect moment to strike will never strike. And I go, well said, Jorun, well said. So we go to sleep that night. But remember, I rolled that miss earlier. I'm going to practice my dodge rock breathing method to try to suppress the Force entity and push them back so that I can, again, make contact with the light side of the Force. Make sense? For that, I'm going to face danger. I'm going to do a face danger here. It says, with resolve, command, or sociability, heart, strength, endurance, or aggression, deception, expertise, focus, or observation. It's either a focus or command. I think this is going to be focus. I think I need to use my wits. Okay. Hopefully I pass here. If I don't, I'm going to go ahead and call it. Actually, no, I'm not going to call it. I'll roll to pay the price. Okay, I got a strong hit. On a strong hit, you were successful. Take +1 momentum. So, guys, not only do I take +1 momentum, but do you guys remember what I said when I first established what this Dodge Rock thing does? It is a thing that once I pass it, look over here. Once I pass it, I'm going to give myself just a passive +1 to all checks deflecting the dark side. So here I mark progress. Boom, boom. So this is a way I've added to make the game where you don't just get XP and special abilities when you buy, when you gain XP and you buy a new asset card, a new asset. I want it to be where you can get stuff just through role playing. And so I've got this thing where this breathing method, the more I do it, the better I get at deflecting the dark side. It'll be just this passive +1 that I'll always have. But so I'm practicing what Bruna, my master, taught me about the breathing method. Breathing from the stomach up to the chest, feeling it expand out through my chest, then breathing out, and as I breathe out, feeling the contraction, and then using that contraction to sort of force my mind to create a channel of energy that pushes the dark side back and keeps it at bay. And so I have successfully, I can now access the force, which is important for my asset over here, which says I am a devotant to the force. I'm going to need that, I think. Okay, so let's let some time skip, right? I go to sleep after I've meditated on the Dodge Rock breathing method. I wake up the next morning ready to go. No surprise, I think I come outside my hut that they've given me, my tent or whatever, and that Togorian, Jaroon, he is outside squatted down. He's like ready to go, and he's facing like east or wherever we're heading. And he looks, and he didn't look over his shoulder at me. I'm like, are you okay? And he says, it's time to go. And he trots forward on all fours, kind of like a cat. But then he also kind of runs sometimes or jogs on like a biped on his hind legs. So sometimes he can run on all fours, and sometimes he can run on just his back hind legs. And so he and I are jogging, and then we come to a place where we got to walk, and we're passing those waterfalls that I landed the day before. We're through that bog. I said it's like swampy marshes. We're passing through all that, and we're not talking much. And I'm swatting at the back of my neck from these mosquitoes or whatever that are biting me, and we're pushing on. Now remember, because I am a Zabrak, I've got this passive. It gets +1 to any sort of survival check or endure stress when facing harsh, cold, heat, torment, or pain. Okay. So if I have to do a survival check for some reason, I just got to remember that I have that. But right now I've got him with me, and he's a hunter, so I don't think I need him. And I need to do anything. I just need to follow him. But at some point we are going to be sneaking around. Okay. Now remember, he does give me +1. If we look over here, to assist in being a lookout and sneaking, and also a +1 momentum. So it sounds to me like we have to do another face danger, and that face danger is to be stealthy. We're gonna have to sneak around. So first, I'm gonna do a sneak. Then I'm gonna do a gather information, to look around, see if I see anything interesting. Okay, let's go here with stealth. Let's go shadow, and we're gonna go boom. It's a weak hit. You succeed, but not without a cost. Okay, makes sense to me. I'm gonna make a suffer move. So I am not seen by anyone, but unfortunately I do lose a little spirit, and for that, I am going to use this for endure stress when facing cold, heat, torment, or pain, or whatever, for my survival check. So I'm going to use endure stress, and I'm going to give myself a +1 to it. And then we got to do a gather info. So endure stress. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to roll endure stress, but I'm going to add +1 to my roll. Oh, no, that was the wrong thing. I was supposed to do that. I roll, let me see if I'm not mistaken, spirit or heart, whichever is higher. I'm going to roll other. I'm rolling my spirit, but I give myself a +1 because of stuff. I don't know what that is. Did I not do it right? Other, let's see, shadow. Let's just do it this way. Heart, and I'm going to give myself an add of total of 2 because that, and I got a strong hit. On a strong hit, choose 1. Shake it off. If you were not shaken, I take 1 spirit back. Or I can give myself +1 momentum. Do I want the momentum? Because momentum is awesome, but spirit is also hard to get back. I guess I'll take the spirit. So I shake it off. So it's tough, but he looks back at me. How are you doing back there? And I say he knows my name, Call, and he says, and he also says, no, he says my race. How are you doing, Zabrak? And I say, pretty good, Togorian. And I shrug it off, and I said, you just lead the way. You don't worry about me. And he kind of laughs. The Togorian people were born to this. You outsiders do not know what real survival is like. And I was like, well, if survival includes being quiet, neither do you. And he chuckles. All right, so now I'm going to gather information. And it's a wits. I am going to call upon the force to secure an advantage. Calling out to the force. I got a strong hit on a secure advantage with a strong hit. I can take both. I get +2 momentum, and I get a +1 on my next move. I'm calling out to the force to help me. So I'm going to be rolling wits +1, and let's see what happens. Got a weak hit. Okay, not bad, not bad. On a weak hit, the information provides new insight, but also complicates your quest. Envision what you discover, then take +1 momentum. Okay, so I'm going to envision what it was my gather info told me about. My gather info is now telling me, let's go action and theme maybe, or descriptor focus. What do I see? Decaying artifact. Okay, so it complicates my quest because we've come to a decaying artifact. It's an old temple that's sunk into this marsh. Remember, I'm like this marshy, swampy area. It has sunk into the marsh. He and I have to go around. We see like he says, Imperial. I kind of go, look, Imperial patrol up ahead. And we hunker down. And he goes, good eyes on you, Zabrak. And I say, I'm whispering, I'm like, all right, we need to go around. And he says, there's a problem with that. The sacred temple is that way. And I go, okay. And he says, it is sunken. We call it the sunken temple as well. And it's forbidden for us to go there. And I say, why? He says, the site is holy to us. All right, so we have to what? Go way, way around or something? And so he says, yes, but remember, it's something that's helpful, but it complicates the quest maybe. So I spotted something that's going to complicate the quest, which means we have to kind of go around. That's fine. I think that requires another survival check from me. But I think if I pass this, then we're going to reach the caves. We're there. If I fail it, I have to do an undertaken expedition. Okay? So let's do a face danger to see if he and I are able to sort of wrap this up. Can we just find a quick way around here? And if not, I've got to do, which I'm excited to do, an explore. I want to explore Togoria. Togoria sounds like an amazingly rad place to be. So let's use, is it speed, mobility, or agility? Or is it wits to make good time? I'm going to say it's an edge thing. I think that if he wants to, he says, if you want to get around and not, make it too tough, he basically says, you'll have to climb up there and move. There's this place with like vines sticking out of these cliffs and this hill that's like sludgy. So it's going to be mobility, which edge is my worst It's my worst stat, but oh well. Here we go. It's a miss. So guess what? This just became an exploration, and that is cool to me. So we're going to do a little exploration. I'm going to mark another clock here. The clock is, I'm going to say it's troublesome because I've got a guide with me. He kind of knows his way around. Find a way around the Imperial Patrol and the Sacred Temple. So we got to get around both of these things. Easy enough. And now watch how fast I'm going to do. The last time I did that very slowly when we did an expedition, you can actually do this pretty quick. You can actually just sort of make it a quick fiction. Let's just say you guys I don't want to highlight this too much, but it does give you XP when you undertake an expedition if you do it well. So let's do first, I'm going to do a wits roll. You can do it like this, guys. Watch. Remember last time I did a roll and I determined what happened? But I can do a bunch of rolls and then just kind of make it all make sense when it's all said and done. Okay, I got a miss. So real quick, I could, I'm going to roll, pay the price. Real quick. So you're going to go back and forth between pay the price and everything else. So pay the price. Your vehicle suffers damage. Doesn't really make sense. We're not in a vehicle, so I'm going to roll again. An individual or community you care about is exposed to danger. Okay. I think he actually starts slipping. He's the one in the lead, but I've got to do a face danger real quick. All right. So boom, we're going to do a quick face danger. I've got to roll a reaction. So what do you think that is? I get that's another edge. Speeder. I think he's going to be so injured if I can't catch him here, then I'm going to have to do some other kind of roll or leave him here. Okay, I got a weak hit. I make a suffer move. I'm going to go over here. Bang. Suffer. Goes all the way. It goes down to 4. I'm once again going to endure stress by giving myself, fortunately for me, I have this, and I got a strong hit, which means it goes right back to 5. So what just happened? He goes, whoa, whoa, and I caught him. And then I'm like, are you okay? And he's like, yes. Watch your step. These places, and he goes, you're pretty good for even a Zabrak, for a non-Togorian. Okay, so I just rolled again on a strong hit. This time, it says when I say explore a waypoint, on a strong hit, you reach a waypoint. So I'm going to mark progress, right? Go over here. Bang. Mark progress. Just like this. 1, 2, 3. Then it says envision a waypoint. If you want, you can envision a quick waypoint. It's as simple as going up here to the planet thing we had, the jungle. I can clear these results, or I can just add another one here. Immense tiered waterfall, already did that one. Clear results. Plunging sinkholes. So that's what he almost fell into. He almost fell into the ground collapsed beneath him. I grabbed him and pulled him up. So now we're moving on to the next thing. We go back. I use wits again. I'm going to roll. Got a miss. So I'm going to really quickly pay the price. Boom, boom, boom. Pay the price. Boom. You waste resources. Okay. So we go over here. I lost a supply. So he and I are going along. It's taking too long. I'm going to say it's already almost like nightfall again. And he and I have had to eat and drink water. He's trying to eat out of his rations, and I'm eating out of mine, but I'm getting kind of low on rations again. I'm getting low on supplies. All right, so we're going to really quickly try it again. I got a weak hit. If I'm not mistaken, we'll go read it, but I'm pretty sure on a weak hit, I do it, but I have to make two suffer moves. So let's go over here. Boom. I mark progress. I make 2 suffer moves. I'm going to make it health and spirit. I think I'm exhausted, and I think I actually kind of fall, and again, something like I almost twist my ankle a little bit, so it's going to slow me down. It's like a pain. I get to do an endure stress and an endure, an endure stress and an endure endure pain. What is it? Endure injury. And let's do this one at a time. Health. Okay, strong hit, which means I get that health right back. And then I get a weak hit. What does endure stress on a weak hit mean? I really quickly weak hit. I lose 1 momentum, but I gain 1 spirit back. Okay, boom, boom. By the way, I could be burning momentum right now, guys. I'm kind of saving it for if I have to get into some kind of combat. But I've got like 9 momentum. I could be burning. I might burn it this next time. Let's see if this takes much longer. Here we go. Wits. 1 more roll. Strong hit. Let's envision where we ended up. So let's take a moment now to have a little bit of a character moment between he and I. Between he and I, we have a little character moment. And I'm going to roll action theme. And we're going to go boom, boom, guard, cure. Oh. So at some point I ask him, so this disease, what are the Imperials doing about it? Do they have like protocols? And he says, yes. Many of the Imperials you will see wearing masks and helmets at all times, but many of them are still dying from this disease anyway. And I said, really? He goes, yes. And they are guarding an area that we believe that they are working on some sort of cure, or at least working on the dead. They're taking the bodies of the dead. The Imperials are taking the bodies of the dead, the cadavers, and they're operating on them to try to find what it is that is killing all the human Imperials on this planet. And I say to him, are you sure you don't know what's killing all the Imperials, Jaroon? You sure about that? And I'm going to roll on Ask the Oracle. Now, since he's already told me no, I think it's almost certain that he continues to say it. Does he still tell me no? Yes, he still tells me no. So he's like, no, I don't know what's going on. I have no idea what's killing all these Imperials. It's not me. It's not us. I say, okay. All right. And I got a strong hit to conclude the journey. So check it. Go back up here to see, I could have made a discovery along the way. I didn't want to do that, but I finished the expedition. So what does that do? Finish the expedition. On a strong hit, you reach your destination. You mark a reward on your Discoveries track legacy per the ranks. So it was a troublesome, right? So let's look over here. Let's go over to, where's that, campaign? No, down here. Let's go all the way down. Now look, we've marked 1 more. If we get 1 more mark on our Discoveries track, we get 2 XP. Okay? And that's it. So now we get to envision where we're at. So that was, you saw how I just kind of raced through that expedition. You can just do a bunch of quick rolls. You don't have to do a roll, do an entire scene there. If you want. If you like that kind of play style, which I do that often. But sometimes I'm like, hey, let's just kind of get to the point here. I want to kind of move on and see where we're going. So I'm going to roll again on planet feature. Where do we get to? Okay, here's the thing. He takes me through, we finally get to those caves. It makes perfect sense, right? But they're waterlogged. We get through the caves, and he's like, they're really waterlogged. So he goes, you have to be careful. We have to do some swimming. So we swim underneath this water. We come in. Sometimes I have to hold my breath, and we got flashlights because it's pitch black. I don't care what movies show you. It's pitch black underwater in a cave. There's no light source anywhere. So you can't see where you're going. And it's terrifying. Cave diving is one of the most terrifying, deadly activity a human being can undertake. He and I are essentially holding our breath, and we're going underneath. And we reach this place where there's a patrol. Now, outside the waterlogged caves, let's roll here. We come to, it says haunted storage. I'm going to take that to mean, oh, yeah. The Imperials have a storage facility. Remember, this whole thing was to get me past the Imperial sort of blockade into the city of Kairos. So let's not forget to go over here and mark progress as convincing the Togorians for other options. I think this is one way I'm convinced. I'm showing my worth to this Togorian. I think they'll be impressed that once I get inside, that a Zabrak was able to get past all these human Imperials. We come up, and again, just for funsies, is it daytime or nighttime? Let's ask the oracle. Is it daytime? It is not. It is nighttime. Okay, so it is nighttime. So that means we come. It makes sense too. Like we probably waited for nightfall, right? We come up, and there's a storage facility, and that thing said haunted storage. I think that they did something almost like defiling or disrespectful. Let's say the Empire put a storage facility for, like, goods and supplies for the stormtroopers and everybody near a sacred Togorian site. And we come up near the storage, but I get into now. But now here's what I like, and I was waiting to get to this part. I'm inside a city full of nothing but female Togorians and Imperials, which are all human, pretty much. So I'm not in an Imperial uniform, and even if I was, I'm a Zabrak. It would be kind of hard. It's doable, but it's kind of hard to pass yourself off as an Imperial, as a human. But I got an idea here. I think I can make another connection. We're going to see. The Togorian is going to say, this is what he's going to say. He's going to say, I'm going to roll likelihood. I'm going to roll likelihood. And he's going to say, though I wasn't supposed to tell you until we got here, in case we were both captured. You weren't supposed to know. But another ally was supposed to drop something for us inside. And I say, drop something for us? Drop what? He says, well, you look human enough, but not quite. We have to cover up your horns. I said, what are you talking about? And he says, they're basically a wig. There's supposed to be a wig and an Imperial uniform nearby, so I can pass as an Imperial, maybe. We're going to sneak around, but if I get caught, I need to be able to pass myself off as an Imperial. Classic Star Wars, right? Take off your clothes, put on the clothes of the Empire, and sneak around. So we're looking for that. I'm going to, just to be fair, I always like to be fair, and when the Oracle doesn't like you, it can lead to interesting story stuff. I'm going to roll on, not almost certain, I'm going to roll on likely. It's likely that if we got this far and Sabersworn were able to organize this mission, I think it's likely that the disguise kit is located somewhere close by where it's supposed to be. Is it located somewhere close by? Yes, it is. So therefore, I'm not going to have to roll. It's exactly where Jarun, my friend Jarun here, said it's supposed to be. So he says, wear this. He says, wear this. This is for you to, we're going to sneak around. And he says, I must not be seen here either. I am a male. Only females stay here throughout most of the year. There's only certain times of year when the males are allowed to come into the cities proper. So we both must be cautious. So I've got this Imperial uniform on now, and I've put on, let's say, like a blonde wig. And I've got that Imperial cap. So I look like the classic Imperial officer. You know what they look like? They have the gray pressed shirt, the gray pants, but the tall black boots and black gloves, maybe. I've got a blonde wig on, covering my Zabraki horns, and I've got a hat on top of that to keep it snug. But we're still going to sneak around, and our fallback plan is if we're spotted, just like Han and Luke, we're going to pretend they pretended to be taking Chewie to prisoner transfer to cell block 1138. If we get caught, I'm going to pretend to be taking this Togorian male as my prisoner. I'm transferring him, and we'll see where that goes. Right now, he and I have to sneak. There's a tree. We're going to call it. Let's see. We sneak up to the. Let's just call it some word in Togorian that means the ephemeral tree. It's a tree that has this weird glowing moss, and at certain times of night, that moss actually does this weird shimmer where it almost turns parts of the tree kind of invisible. Just parts of it. It's just really weird. It's this really weird effect. It's a local thing. and they call it it's a Togorian word that means ephemeral. So we call it the ephemeral tree or something like that. And that's where the High Council, that's where that would be like their city hall. And it's this massive tree that has grown into another tree that has grown into another tree. And I'm talking these branches can be like 20 yards wide. Like these are not just, I don't mean 20 yards long, I mean 20 yards wide. So you can walk on them like natural bridges that are just made by the trees themselves. They grow into each other. And then the Togorians build into the trees their huts and their cities and the hollowed out parts of the... So it's a city, essentially, a city hall, a town, a central part of the city. And when you get up here, when you look, you can see trees everywhere that have got lights in them. Togorians, female Togorians living their lives, they're living their best life up in trees, with fires going in this tree. I guess they'd probably have to be pretty careful with fire here, but maybe like the Ewoks, they know how to control fire and make sure it doesn't, I guess, spread to the other trees. And so we have to get up to the ephemeral tree. There's stairs that are carved into the wood, and the oak is so strong that it doesn't kill the tree. And so Togorians have learned how to cultivate and like that. And so we got to sneak around. And I'm going to say that there's just female Togorians in robes walking everywhere. Children on all fours, children up on their hind legs. There's Imperials walking around. There's a couple of patrols. So he and we sometimes move in the open, like, hey, nothing to see here. And then sometimes we kind of hustled into an alley. Because we kind of blend it, right? We're sometimes sneaking and sometimes using social stealth. Kind of like Assassin's Creed style. This is definitely a face danger, which we are going to do right now. So you can read it there, what it all does. I think if you guys have played with me this long, or if you've played enough of this game, you know how face danger works. Let me clear these other results. And I'm using Shadow. I've got my pal with me, who gives a +1. And remember, let's look over here. I've got 9 momentum. So unless I roll nothing but 9s or 10s, I should be able to at least get a weak hit or a strong hit out of this. So here we go. We got a strong hit. On a strong hit, you are successful. Take 1 momentum. So right now we're cooking, guys. Check this out. Go over here. I'm going to make another progress. Sneaking through, he and I make it to the upper levels. Now here's where it's going to get really difficult. And this is up to you to make up a series of things that happen next. I kind of make it up, or I can roll the oracle here. Now, I've been rolling a lot of oracles, but let's make one up now. Let's make up a challenge. What have I got to do next? Well, I've snuck successfully. We've already got a stealth roll behind us. We're done. But what's the next objective? Because I have 5 or 6, I have 6 more boxes to complete here, arguably. So one of them is obviously going to be trying to make an argument and find this woman. But what are these other ones going to be? I think the next thing to do is I come to a place that it's going to be hard sneaking through this place. It's going to be very hard. I think I have to do a compel. This is going to be more bluffing. This is social stealth. So let's ask a question to ourselves here. This is I love this about the game. Do we think this is compel? I am persuading people. It says persuade someone. Now, is that verbally? Or can I use that as social stealth? Arguably, I could just walk with confidence and convince and persuade people around me that I'm supposed to be here and that this is my Togorian prisoner. But let's go up to face danger. It also says when you do something with deception, stealth, or trickery, you roll shadow. I'm going to go ahead and say this is trickery, so we're still doing shadow. I'm just going to make a call here. But remember, I only get a +1 from Jarun. Right there it says, to assist in being a lookout or sneaking. He and I have to abandon sneaking right now to walk openly in this well-lit public forum. Imagine going to like Washington, D.C., where the Capitol building is. But imagine all of that is up in the sky in the trees. And there's monuments carved in the trees, and there's all these lights that look like, almost like, imagine Paris, the Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel Tower, something like that built out of the trees. and it's well lit. And the female Togorians are walking around, but there's also these Imperial checkpoints. And it's just getting to the point we can't sneak around anymore. This place is too well lit. And we've got to get in that building, and it's just too much to try to sneak in through some kind of window up to the side of these gigantic trees, these colossal trees. So now I've got to do a deception, and he can't help me. Because this is just me walking with trickery or confidence or something like that. This could also be with resolve, command. Let's stick with trickery. It's trickery. Okay, that's a weak hit. So, on a weak hit, you succeed, but not without a cost. Make a suffer move. Well, to me, it makes sense to do that. I spirit, but I don't think I can give myself anything to like a +1 to endure that, because I'm not enduring harsh cold or torment or pain. But I am still going to try to endure stress. I got a strong hit, which means, if I'm not mistaken, I can shake it off. I always need to go here. I always like to sometimes recheck the rules just to be sure. On a strong hit, I can choose one. That's right, I can choose one. I can either take one spirit or I can take one momentum. Well, I'm full of momentum, so we'll take the spirit. All right, makes sense. So what did that do? Look at that over here. We just made progress. Boom. Getting closer, guys. So here's what happens. We move through. A couple of Imperials look at us, and I give them a look. And all of them seem to really be buying that I'm an Imperial officer with business here. And I've got a Togorian walking with me. And we are walking, and he's got his head down like he's an angry prisoner. He's sullen. I've got him in binders. Let's say it exactly like Chewbacca in the first Star Wars movie. I've put binders on him, on Jaroon, but his binders are loose, so he can break out of them and help me fight if he needs to. So we're moving, and we come into this forum, to the ephemeral tree. Now we're inside the ephemeral tree. This thing is colossal. It's the inside of a tree, like imagine being the size of Congress or something. We're walking inside that. We're walking through hallways that have been carved into the tree, into some of its hollow parts, and then they've used natural protrusions to create wall art and stuff. So we are walking, and there's female Togorians looking. And here's the next challenge I just realized. Following the fiction, he is a male Togorian who is not supposed to be here. Only the women only the females are in Kairos at this time of year. They rule this planet. Okay. So I think I bluffed all the Imperials outside who were kind of walking in this area and doing blockades and roadblocks or what have you. I think I'm going to roll on something for action and theme. Hold. Price. I think a female Togorian a couple of them walk up to me and they say, Ishkarnar. They say something in Togorian speak. And I stop and look and I have to project that I'm confident. I say, stay back. This is my prisoner. And they say, what are you holding him for? And the other one says, has he a price on his head? And I look them up and down, and I look over at my pal here, and I've got to come up with a lie very quickly. And so now this is a compel. I think compel is when where is it? Compel, when you lie or swindle, it's shadow. I'm going to say to them, who, him? He's not done anything worth having a price on his head. He's mostly worthless. So you leave him to me. Do you understand? This is Imperial business. So I'm putting on the haughty Imperial sort of thing. Let's roll. A strong hit with a match. Okay. So guess what? Guys, I'm going to go over here. First of all, let's mark progress. It would normally give me +1 momentum, but I'm at max. But let's go roll on the thing, the core action and theme. Hide disease. Let's follow the fiction. They just said, this is great. I said leave him alone, right? He's with me. And remember, this planet has some kind of disease or something that's killing Imperials. And one of them says to her, Nuth Karn Meniar. And I'm going to say that I take out my data pad and I put on like in Star Trek has a universal translator, but in Star Wars here, I imagine they have the same thing on their data pad. I record their words, what they're saying back and forth with the Jaroon here, and they have a conversation. He says something like "Ignashwada," and I'm trying to listen to their language, and I see the interpretation. They don't see me do it. I do it surreptitiously, so they can't see it. And the translation says, "You better not have betrayed us. We were told the males." They say, remember, you males are supposed to keep the secret of the disease. You're not going to tell this Imperial exactly how we managed to do it. And basically, these women fell for it so hard. They think, and they've just revealed that Jaroon does know what disease or what pathogen is killing the Imperials. He's been lying to me this whole time. And they don't know they just revealed that to me, so I pocket that. I pocket my translator, and he snaps at them like, be quiet. He says it, in Togorian. Nishka mama. And we walk on. And I look at him. I'm going to keep that in my pocket. The reason I think that's a strong hit with a match is because I'm going to use that later, that knowledge, to maybe impress the clan leader with how slick I am and how much I know. Therefore, how good the Sabersworn might be to her. We could help you out, kind of thing, right? Ooh, that was a good one. All right, so next thing, but we're still, look, guys, we're still 4 boxes away. So now, I think what has to happen is to gather information. I need to find out where in this place I can find the leader, the Lux Finn. Lux Finn is the leader, and I need to do a gather information. Kind of ask around, maybe stop an Imperial or a Stormtrooper and say, or anyone, and just say, where can I find the leader? Where can I find Miss Lux Finn, or whatever they call her? They probably call her something like, some word that, there's a word for it they use in canon. They call it like the princeps or something. She's a precept or a princeps or something. So I'm going to ask right now, gather info, using wits. Let's go. On a weak hit, the information provides new insight, but also complicates your quest. Okay, awesome. We can do that. So look at that. I mark progress. Now, let's roll to see. Let's do a descriptor focus. Where is she? Perilous outbreak. She is in a meeting right now. God, this is all... Sometimes these things just tie together, don't they? That outbreak, there it is. She is right now in a late night meeting with some Imperials. So this is why it says... I remember I rolled a weak hit. It said that I get new insight, which helps me, but it complicates my quest. The complication is that she's currently in like a Senate oversight committee meeting with Imperials concerning this disease, and they are accusing Togorians of knowing what's up, or saying, "Can you help us with or what's going on? Are you guys using biological warfare? You wouldn't do that against us Imperials, would you?" And so there's a Senate oversight committee, whatever you want to call it, going, a meeting between Lux Finn and all of her female cohorts, Togarian cohorts. So it complicates it because I want to speak to her now, and I need to get out of the city because I can't stay here forever. I have nowhere to sleep, right? And if they eventually, I'm going to get caught. You can only sneak around so long before someone catches you. I don't want to get caught, so I got to find a moment to get to her. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to roll. I don't feel confident realistically, about walking into a meeting between the senators and imperial like grand moffs, or I guess it wouldn't be Tarkin. He's dead at this point. But a moff, a sector moff. Those are like in Star Wars, kind of like sector. They govern sectors of space. So she's in there with a sector moff and a starship commander and like a military naval admiral. So I'm going to go in there and talk to her or wait for her to get out of the session. So here's what I'm going to roll is on the moves. I'm just going to go 50-50 here. 50-50. Does this meeting go very long? Yes, it goes long. Okay, so the reason I rolled that is if it goes long, I determined that in my head, I decided I'm going to have to roll just another shadow of some kind to ensure I'm waiting outside the chamber. Let's call it, I don't know, the chamber of senators or whatever, and they are in there talking with Luke Sven and the Togorian leadership. And I am standing like an idiot outside with a male Togorian prisoner, and I'm getting looks from Imperials and other female Togorians walking past. So am I able to keep up this ruse? Let's see. Am I able to keep up this ruse? I'm using shadow here. I got a weak hit, which I did it as a face danger, which on a weak hit it says you do it, but you make a suffer move. Yeah. All right. So I did it. It doesn't get me any progress, I don't think. Or will it? Yeah, we'll call it a progress. Why not? Progress. Made progress. But I lose this. Lose that. I am going to choose to try to endure stress. I got a weak hit on endure stress. And that, on a weak hit, what does it say? If you are not shaken, I can lose momentum to gain one spirit. I really want to keep my momentum 10. But spirit, because having momentum 10 is just so clutch sometimes. Like when you want to make sure you pass a roll. But okay, I did it to get some spirit back. Okay. We're doing good though. We're almost there. So I wait long enough, and then the chamber doors open, like they moan on like steel or iron hinges. And I have to back away and pretend I'm part of the crowd, and I've got this stormtroopers are walking past me. Stormtrooper honor guards come out of this Senate chamber, and so do the Imperials, and so does Luke Sven. And she is a Togorian female who is older. She's like a matriarch kind of thing. She's running the show here, right? And so I've got to find a way to convince her to follow the Sabersworn, but I gotta wait for her to have a moment alone. And for funsies, let's roll action and theme to see what are they talking about on the way out, just for flavor. And this could lead me to something, right? A story thing. Guard family. Excellent. On the way out, I overhear just them saying, "Excellent, excellent." It's the Imperials just shaking hands and sort of doing a respectful but barely visible bow to Luke Sven, and they say, "And of course I will have that honor guard on your family tonight. We wouldn't want anything to happen to them, would we now?" And she says, "I thank you." And I want to know who this guy is. I'm gonna say he's a high-ranking admiral, but I want to know a name for him. Ooh, I like the Bai part there. Bai. Ayako Bai. That sounds female to me. I'm going to kind of do a little retcon. I think it's a female admiral named Ayako Bai. And she says, "Yes, Admiral, and she uses the formal full name, Admiral Ayako Bai." And let's say, let's put this here in the notes. Met or saw Admiral Ayako Bai, female human Imperial. That could come into play later. Now we've got some characters. We're building this world out. We're building Togoria. We're building out our possible enemies that we have to fight later or whatever. She says, "Thank you, Admiral Ayako Bai. We, the Togorian people, are very happy that you would see to our families and think of them at this tense time between our two peoples. And he says to her, he says, well, I should hope that one day you will not think of us as two people, but one. And she goes, wouldn't that be delightful? And there's like a little bit of acid in her voice, but they both give us grin or a smile, and they depart on good terms. Now, I have to catch up. She starts walking away, and she starts speaking. Of course, she's speaking in Togorian. And I'm going to use my. I'm going to follow behind her. I'm going to do a face danger to follow her. I think again, it's not sneakiness. This is social stealth. I think he can help me. So we're going to say that he can still give me a +1. Jorun is still giving me, he's playing the part, right, of a prisoner. That I'm walking somewhere to some holding area, maybe. And I got a weak hit. So I succeed, but once again, make a suffer move. Boom. Let's go over here. Guys, we're almost done with this vow. But I'm going to do a endure stress. Do I dare do it? Let's do it. Let's do it. Endure stress. I got a strong hit, which means I can just take it right back. Okay. So everything comes down to this, right? I have been following right behind her. And we have snuck into the city. I have used my disguise to get this far. It all comes down to this. Now I'm going to secure an advantage. I'm calling upon the Force to give me any little extra bit of insight with this next roll. Here we go. It's a strong hit. It's awesome. I get to choose both, which is I get 2 momentum, which puts me all the way up at 10, and I use +1 on my next move. She goes to this mechanized elevator that's built into the tree, and it's more like it's mechanical. Maybe it's electronic. Yeah, we'll say that in the city, they have space shuttles here. They have starships here. This city, they're not quite like Pandorans, where they, the Na'vi or whatever, that don't have any technology. That's like, they don't have any like starships or electrical wiring. The Togorians have starships. They have blaster pistols. So I'm going to say that this is an elevator that's like a turbo lift, and I insinuate myself onto it using the Force, just finding my moment. And she kind of looks at me kind of weird, and that there's a male Togorian. And as this elevator starts going up this tree, like we're inside the tree. It's a colossal tree, and we're going up the inside, going through it in this elevator. And she looks at me, and her aides look at me, because there's a male Togorian here, prisoner to an officer, me. I'm an officer, and I have no stormtrooper cohort with me. And I just turn to her, and I say, Princeps. She's called a Princeps. I'll say, Princeps Luxfin. We don't have much time. It took me a lot to get in tonight. You can probably smell the filth all over me. And we went through the caves, waterlogged caves to get here. And I said, to deliver you this message. And I'm going to take this hologram out, and I'm going to play it. And I'm going to roll a few times here. Remember, I have the holopad that's going to deliver a message. I'm going to roll a few times for things to make sense. Focus, secret, unstable, storage. Okay. I think this hologram emits with a blurry figure. Can't tell who it is. They speak with both a male and a female voice overlapping. So you can't tell if it's a human, you can't tell if it's a male or female. And she looks, Finn just stares at me as this hologram emits in front of her. And this person in the hologram says, "Greeting, Princeps." It says, "We are of the Sabersworn." The person who is showing you this doesn't have much time, and neither do I, so I'll get right to it. And this person lays it out. If you will allow some of your people to start being conscripted into the Empire, and let those people be spies for us, and feed information to you, and you feed that information to us, it will help us in the long run sabotage, right? But if any of your people are caught, if any of your spies are caught, If we will do everything that we can do we in our power to get them out, and we will give them sanctuary somewhere away from Togoria until the coast is clear and they can return again or whatever. To further sweeten the deal, they tell them, this person says something mysterious. They say, but I want you to focus on a secret that you told some of our people a long time ago. That your foods are incredibly, that the ecosystem is becoming incredibly unstable on your world. And I know you Togorians don't want it to be known. It's a government secret, but you did tell someone a long time ago. And we know it. We know that you're suffering an ecological disaster. I think you don't want people to, we know you don't want people to know it. You don't want your people to panic, and you don't want the other planets that you do business with to panic. But we know you have an unstable ecology, and it comes from pollution, not just from the Empire, from your own people. But the Empire have exacerbated it. And I think we can prove it to you. And we can prove it to you if you will join in with us. We can share this information. If you agree, then I will find another person to do a dead drop and send you the information that will prove to you that of our claims. And also, we can get you food out of the storage that the Imperials are impounding. So we agree to all this. We agree to, 1, show you evidence that the Empire is exacerbating your ecological disaster on this planet. And 2, we can start sneaking out some of the food that they are taking from you and putting in storage and dispersing it amongst your people. And 3, if you will be volunteer some of your people to be conscripts to the Empire to help them build their next project, whatever it is, and they will give information to you that you will then leak to us for our use, we promise to get those people to sanctuary. And then it basically the message starts kind of smoking like in Mission Impossible. It melts, it kind of burns in my hand, and I kind of drop it to the ground. And then I look at her, and I add this little bit. I say, I also know that you guys have done what you can to create this disease, and that you are spreading it, and that it was the job of the males outside the city to spread this disease, this biological agent, amongst the Imperials. And she looks at me with surprise that I know this. And even Jorun realizes I must have been overhearing his conversation with those 2 females before, and I somehow translated it. And I think this surprise gives me all that I need right now to do one final move. And we're going to call it just a compel. I am using encourage/barter charm. So that is heart. Let's roll heart here. Boom. Strong hit. Okay. So that is, I can take 1 momentum, but I don't need it. Look over here, guys. Look. Boom. All 10 on formidable. Let's go. I want you guys to see this. If you know that we've done fulfill your vow, because what we're about to do is roll. Check it out. Got a strong hit. Fulfill your vow says this: when you reach the end of your quest, roll the challenge dice and compare to your progress. On a strong hit, which I did, your vow is fulfilled. Mark a reward on your quest's legacy track per the vow's rank. Well, the rank I had was formidable, so I mark 1 entire box. So let's go over here to rental call. Let's go all the way to the bottom and check this out. Quests goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So I get these 2 XP here. So we're going to go up here, tracking how much XP I have, right? So I've got 2 XP or 1 XP to spend from last session. I just got 2. There's 3 XP. That's pretty awesome, right? So cool. So it is done. She agrees. And let's do a little bit of action theme to see suppress commerce. She says, we get off at the next elevator, and she comes away, and she says, and she's walking, she says, walk with me as we talk. And she talks, and she says, they are not just suppressing everything here, they are poisoning the supply lines to our neighboring star systems. They are suppressing commerce between us and our next star systems. She says, this may be something else I could use you Ironsworn for. I will agree to this. And she looks tense, looking around. She's looking around to see if any Imperials are listening and to see if this is a trap, that if I'm trapping her. So I take off my hat and I take off my wig to show her I'm a Zabrak. And then I have Jarun speak on my behalf. And he says, it's true. He came here with another Ironsworn, who she is outside the city. And I have been in contact with them. And he says, my lady, my princeps, it is your job and the women's job to do what is best for Togoria. Please, the male hunters, we hunters outside the city, encourage you to listen to the Ironsworn. This could be our way to give back to the rebellion or to whatever it is that will help us push back against these fascists. And we're walking around and we get to it. She says, she takes me into a room and all her aides are sort of with her. And she says, and we basically have a quick discussion where she says, all right, you can take this back to your masters. And it's a message. And it's a set of coordinates. And she said, we've been planning this. It's a set of coordinates where we've been planning a rendezvous in secret with other of the female leadership. But if they can send someone, if the Sabersworn can send someone next time to meet us outside the city at these coordinates, then I'll be willing to coordinate with you more about this conscription where we will allow some of our males to be conscripted to the Empire to work as double agents. Does this satisfy? And I say, that satisfies the mission I was sent here to complete, Princeps, and I thank you for your time. And she says, how are you going to get out of here? And I say, probably the same way we came in. And now if I wanted to, I could do a series of things to sneak out of here. You could do it like a TV show where sometimes they don't even show you when, once the mission is over, you've escaped. You just kind of escape. I'm going to do a little face danger just to see. I'm going to use stealth. He and I are sneaking back out. He gives me a +1. And boom. You know what? I'm going to burn that. I'm going to burn all it to make it a strong hit. The reason being is I want that momentum, I want it to be concluded, and I don't want to have to make another suffer move, and I want to be able to sojourn. So here's what's when we get out of here. So here's what happens. He and I sneak out. Jarun and I sneak out the same way we came in. No one's none the wiser. We escape. We make it back out. I get to do a sojourn. And I report back in to the settlement where all the male Togorians are outside the city to Ro and tell her the mission is done. And while I'm there, we're going to do, where is it? Sojourn. I'm probably, yeah. So there's a few things. So let's do this first. See this over here, the challenges? I have friendships I'm building, right? Check this out. So it says down here, I mark whenever you make, advance or develop your relationship. So where is that? Let's do that first. Develop your relationship. It just says, when you reinforce your relationship with the connection by doing any of the following: you swear an iron vow to undertake a perilous quest, you complete a quest to their benefit, which is what we just did, you may mark progress on the rank of the connection. So down here with Ro, this was to her benefit, so I got that. And for Jarun, I did something to his benefit, so I got that. So they like me a little bit better now. They like me a little bit better. They trust me a little bit more now to do some missions in the future. So I've advanced that relationship. I've developed that relationship. Then down here, we have Sojourn. When you spend time recovering within a community, roll +heart. So you and your allies may meet, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I'm going to give myself a +1 on this, because I just fulfilled a pretty awesome mission for both of them. Actually, I'm gonna give myself +2 because it's both the Togorian Jaroon and Ro, who's a Sabersworn, my Sabersworn contact. So I'm gonna roll and see. I got a strong hit. So what does that do? Check it out. On a strong hit, right? We know what I get to do. I get to assume a strong hit on the other two sort of sojourn moves, which will put me up all the way up to full supply. So I'm back at full health, full spirit, full supply. Awesome. It makes sense that they would give me all this food because I just helped them out. They resupplied me. Now, let's go ahead and do a quick oracle to check action and theme. Aid solution. I think it keeps coming back to this. It didn't end up being part of my quest, but I say to him, I say to him knowingly, we're around the fire eating, and I'm going to leave pretty soon. Maybe another mission is lined up for me by the Sabersworn or something. And I say to Jaroon, do you think they'll ever find a solution to that disease that these Imperials are mysteriously afflicted with? And he knowingly looks across and he says, not a chance. And we kind of grin, and then we keep eating. So he's not going to share with me whatever, and I'm just going to consider it done. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to clear that up. I'm going to take a minute to look at what I've got. I've got some XP here. So let's look at what I can do with that XP. It's pretty cool, right? I can either buy a brand new asset, or I could advance one of the assets I already have. Personally, I'm a big fan of whatever you role play kind of informs it. So I might take like a political kind of thing or a sneaking kind of thing. So I think the easiest one, the most obvious one, if I add an asset, let's click add asset here. I expanded hull. I could do stuff for my ship. I could add stuff like a research module. I could reinforced hull. That would be nice to get my ship a new, like a missile array. So if I get in space fights again, that would be awesome. It's tough. This is tough. Do I want to do that, guys? Or do I want to go down here to what is it, infiltrator? Because I did a lot of sneaking, and that really helps having someone or something that helps you sneak. Let's look at infiltrator. What does it do? When you make a move to break into a secure site, infiltrate a protected area, or hack, manipulate secure system, add +1. You know what? I think that's a good one. That's a good one to bank for. I think I'm going to be doing a lot of sneaking around, and I'm not always going to have Jaroon with me because I don't know if he's ever going to leave this planet. I'm going to do that. I added infiltrator. Did it do it? Let's go down here. Did it add infiltrator? It did. So I added infiltrator. All right. So I have spent that XP. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Now, this is important. When you go to the session moves, there is the end a session move. So we did this last time, right? It says when you end a significant session or chapter of play, reflect on the events and any missed opportunities to mark progress. Let's go here. Do I have anything to mark progress with? I don't think so. But you know what I didn't do when we first made this game? I didn't create a background vow. I can do that now. And I think the background vow is just something that I've always had, maybe at the back of my mind, like my character is something he's going to do long term. And it's supposed to be either extreme or epic. I'm going to create a background vow. This is almost impossible to do, so that's why I'm going to make it epic. Undo or undermine. Let's call it sufficiently undermine the Empire's control over the galaxy. And that's a big ask, so I'm making it epic. Sorry, I wasn't supposed to do that. I am making it epic. And I just did that, so look, it's going to make literally one tick. 1 tick. So my goal is to do something by the end of this thing. My character will have undone sufficiently lended to the undoing of the empire. I will have sufficiently led to the undoing of the galactic empire's control. So I made progress there. It says if you strengthen your ties, develop your relationship. I did strengthen my ties. So this is just assumed that something happens off screen. I strengthen my ties again with the people that I strengthened my ties with already. I am going to then say if you move, it says move forward on a quest, reach a milestone. Well, I did, and again, this is stuff considered to be happening off screen. I did move forward on a quest, so I reached a milestone, which is I pushed that agenda a little bit further. If there is a quest, connection, or other situation you would like to give focus to in your next session, make note of it and take +1 momentum. I'm going to give myself +1 momentum because I am going to take note. We're going to not begin a session but we are going to take note that next time I want to put a note here. Note. Speak with Ro about more work for the Sabersworn and more training in the Force. ... If she can do that. We don't know. I haven't asked her yet if she can do that. Okay. All right, guys. So that ends this session of Sabersworn. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've played it before, I hope you learned something new or saw a new way of playing the game. I like to express the game in many different ways. I like to sometimes play it fast, like I did with that Explorer or Undertake an Expedition, when me and the character Jaroon went across Togoria to try to find a way around that patrol. Sometimes you can just roll real quick and then figure it all out, what you do with stress and pain and injuries and everything, and then just write that in your journal. Or you can do one step at a time, role play out an entire scene. Do the next step, role play out that entire scene. It's whatever you want to do. And I hope you guys got a kick out of it. We'll see you next time, and hopefully Rental Call can help destroy the Empire. See you next time.